There is a hard cyclical cycle that happens in anybody's fitness practice. And I say practice because it's not a routine. A routine is something that you do once or twice, a few times. A practice is an ongoing training, an ongoing meditation, movement meditation in this case, that is for your health of your mind and the body. Now this is important because that means frequency is essential. Now what I mean by the frequency is not just doing it 2 days a week, 3 days a week. That is part of it. But frequency also means the accumulation of your total time invested into yourself. Now the cyclical cycle that is harsh in this fitness, physical culture practice that one should undertake, just like any type of studying or any other type of self-development, is that life happens. Then what happens when life happens? When you get sick, family emergency, go on vacation, you get married. All these things are all valid life happenings. So what are you going to do in order to keep up with your practice, which is ongoing? When you do practice, it's an ongoing depth of study. Now, this is very intimidating for some people. And the cyclical cycle is, they start, they begin, hardest part, they get some results, which then gives them more motivation, they make some progress, and then life happens, and then they fall off. And then the cyclical cycle after they fall off, I'm not ready yet. I'm too tired. I have too much going on. I have no time. I have no energy. My mind isn't right. And it just keeps going. And it's just a vortex down, a spiral of negative thoughts and emotions. Now, why is this? It is reasonable. This isn't an uncommon thing. It is completely normal. Anyone who has these thoughts is a normal, sane person. So what we're actually looking at here is not a fault within the person. It is an exhausting of your nervous system, your central nervous system, your CNS. Now, in the system that I teach, in Tacfit and CST systems, this is an integral part of the study, a part of the system. Tacfit is tactical, meaning objective. This doesn't just denote a type of martial approach. It actually is quite the opposite. It is very much a recovery-based, holistic health and wellness system. And what does that mean? That means that our nervous system is our primary goal, because that is the command center for everything else. So with our CNS, what does that mean? Well, our central nervous system will take on our stress. Hence, when someone says, I'm so stressed out, I got sick. It's normal. What does one do with that? You're so stressed out that you get sick because your nervous system is so fried and that stress has burned you out that your physical body cannot keep up, and it has to find a way to hibernate and try to recover some sort of homeostasis. Now, in Scott Sundin's work, who is the creator of Tacfit, he actually cites one of the lead Russian scientists whose work is relative to what we know about stress. It's a long Russian name, and I can never pronounce it right off the top of my memory, so bear with me, but you can look it up. He's the father of stress, this is his nickname. But he later then said that looking back now, he wouldn't have called it stress. He would actually have renamed it strain. Because what is stress? Stress is a stimulus that is supposed to then invoke a response or a change. That is stress. Strain is when stress becomes too much and too localized at one point or one specific fixture to the point where it will break or it will fault or it cannot recover. Hence, recovery-based system. You recover before your strain goes beyond the point of no return. Now, almost 5 minutes in, I know I've given you a bit of a lecture. Now allow me to give you the value on what I'm trying to present here is my view, and this is an anecdotal experience that I hope you can take and apply to yourself, of how to deal with your nervous system and in order to keep up with your physical practice. So, I think of the nervous system like RPMs in a car. Very simply put, we have C and S is equal roughly to RPMs, reps per minute, like in a car. You see that? It's not very easy to see. Let's use it right. C and S equals RPMs. That's better. Now, as I said, this is my anecdotal experience. This is my view on this. And so hopefully maybe someone will be able to spark and take it and maybe apply it for themselves successfully. So the way I think about it is I think about the nervous system when it is under lots of stress and I still need to do my physical practice, I need to do less. And so I go into a lower gear. So we can say gear 1 is just mobility training, just moving the joints. Gear 2 is a low gear, low speed, higher weight. So, just like a car, when you want to pull something, you're tugging a trailer, you have to go into a lower gear. When you're going up a hill, you'll drop into your second or third gear. Well, I drive a manual, so I drop into it. If you drive an automatic, then you might need to learn a little bit of clutching to understand the analogy. But essentially, low gear is for more brute force. And then we have high gear. We're just going to say 3 for today. We can make, these are subjective. There's just an example. So we can make all the sub gears 4th, 5th, and 6th. We're just going to use the 3. Third gear is high intensity. So this could be 1 rep max. This could be high intensity interval training. This could be numerous things. In Tacfit, we have high intensity interval training. And then we also have low gear, heavier weight, and it just depends on regressing and progressing the difficulty. But this can be applied to any system. So essentially, when your nervous system is fried, exercise is also a stress. It is a stressor because it's evoking a change. So you must consider this. And when you consider this, you then realize that everything in your life is an accumulated stressor, a stimulus. How we deal with it is up to us. To maintain our physical practice, we have to take into consideration our central nervous system so that we can then gear properly the RPMs that we need, that we're able to successfully integrate into our practice as to not overload our system to the point where we get sick. So, when your nervous system is so high and fried, you can't go and do high intensity. It's just going to add on top of you and you'll get sick. And then that's when you hurt yourself or you tire yourself out. You don't want to do it. It feels horrible. The low gear, maybe heavier weight, slow, more recovery. That could be more cathartic, actually. Again, you have to get to know yourself in order to do this. That's the catch for this. And then mobility, low intensity, simply learning to lubricate the joints, just movement. Our lymphatic system, which takes away waste and transfers the hormones, the nutrients, and everything along with the blood, does not have a pump. It is only pumped through movement in all directions. So to lube up the joints and be able to have a practice where you can be aware of the body, even just that, like in Scott Sutton's program of Into Flow, or in the Tacfit North American Director's program, Gwyn Fisher, he has his Into Flow Daily Doubles, which is an expansion on top of the Into Flow, is all in that gear. And then between these 3, you can also, there's ways to oscillate. You can do the higher intensity, but not go so fast. You can do the low gear, low speed, heavy weight, or lighter weight a little faster. Again, this is anecdotal. It's not perfect, it is subjective, but it's an approach. It works for me, so I simply share so then you can dissect, think about it, and think about your own programming and your training and your progress. But just try to have some framework, because I think programming is one thing that is lost among most people, and it's the hardest thing for people to grasp. What do I do? How do I do it? When do I do it? Why do I do it? So just know, when you have those times where you're not gonna get into the gym, you're too fried, work sucks, this is bad, I'm gonna break up, I'm getting married, I have all this stuff going on, you can at least do these. In the mobility, I know in the daily doubles from Gwen Fisher, if you look it up on the RMAX website, they're 12 minutes per session. 12 minutes. And frankly, you can do half of that if you really had no time and still feel some accomplishment. Because it's also a mental game. It's providing eustress or positive stress to start to balance out that de-stress, the negative stress. So your nervous system running at RPMs, do you need to drop gear all the way down to try to reset and calm down? Do you need to add more brute force, but with more recovery, so that way it's less jolting on the body, yet you can still get a stimulus and even add catharsis to get it out? Or do you need to pop into high gear because you're ready for that, you've trained for that, or perhaps that is how you get your catharsis. That is how you deal with your nervous system being high, is you go into high gear and you sweat it out. Again, these are subjective approaches, and it's simply my view, my interpretation for my nerdiness of how to deal with the CNS. Because all my friends that I've seen, they go through and they ask me, oh, what do I do? I haven't been able to get back. I say, just do something. The analogy that I've used a lot over this past year is it's like a piggy bank. Whether it's a penny, nickel, or a dime, as long as you put something in the bank every day, it will multiply. Penny, penny, dime, penny, penny, nickel, nickel, penny, nickel, whatever it is. You oscillate and just shift. Do something. You get action. Action doesn't come to you. You must get action. So, thank you for watching. I know this is a bit of a now 13-minute lecture, but I hope it can give you some value. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And we're looking forward to hopefully training and working with you all soon. See you there.